So it's another day that we review the just concluded business data analytics for April 2025. So just review the questions and see the possible answers that the students were supposed to answer. And for this lesson, we are going to review question number 23, which was covering the management accounting and specifically regression, the regression equation and the related areas and the break-even point. And the question reads, Apollo Limited manufactures fresh juice for both local and export market. The company has provided the following data for the year 2024. We have the quantities produced and we have the production costs. So I've been given that particular information there. So you are required to generate the descriptive statistics for quantities and production costs. So descriptive statistics, remember when you talk about the descriptive statistics, it deals with the mean, mode and the rest, all those items. Then generate the regression output and estimate the cost of producing 900,000 units at 95% confidence level. And if the selling price is 250 per unit, determined by graphical method the break-even point. So in this case, the first thing is to determine the first question. So we generate what we are calling the descriptive statistics, and our descriptive is for the quantities produced. Quantities produced, and I'll autofill. The last value should be 1400, that way. And this other one is for production cost. And production, I'll pick the full values. Remember, these are in thousand, and we said if you want to put them in a full value, we shall have to multiply them by 1,000. Just write 1,000 value here and I will multiply them by 1,000, which I will lock, multiplied by 1,000, and I will lock this using a 4 so that I use the full values. I use the whole values, the full values the way they are, that way. So those are our values, these are our values. So in this case, I'm using the full values without using shillings in thousand. So these are the quantities produced and the production cost. We need to perform the descriptive statistics for the two of them. And we'll find that we shall go to data, and under data analysis. Under data, we go to data analysis, and under data analysis we find descriptive. We have it here, descriptive statistics, this one, descriptive statistics. You click that and you put OK. And for the descriptive, they just need the input range, so we shall do one by one. Input range, so we shall start with quantities, and the label in the first row. Remember the label for the quantities. Then what else do we need? We need the summary, just summary. We don't need the confidence level for mean. The others we don't need, only the summary statistics, only the summary. And the output range, we can have our range at this point and at this point. Output range, let me put it on this side, on this end or on this end. I think that point will be okay, and I'll put OK that way. And this will be our output. This will be our for quantities produced. Our summary for quantities produced. So I can have the times and 12, that way. So that is our summary, the descriptive statistics. Our mean, standard error, mean, mode, median, standard deviation, sample variance, kurtosis, all those values, minimum, maximum, sum, and the count. There are 12 of them. There are 12 of them that way. That is for the quantities produced, and we shall find the same for what? For production cost. Go back to data analytics, descriptive, and in this case we need to highlight this, the production cost, that way, and our output range. We need it to be on this end, the output range, and I will put OK. Yeah, that way. So that one will be for the production. For the production cost times Roman. Yeah, that way. They'll find that for that we don't have the mode. The mode is telling us that it's not available, but all the rest we have the values. Yeah, the rest of the values, they are available. Yeah, so for production cost and for the quantities, for production cost and the quantities, and that one was giving you the 4 marks. That one was giving you the 4 marks, the 4 possible marks that were being awarded there. Then number 2, so remember it was just generate. We are just generate that. We are not supposed to do anything apart from generation. So generate the regression output. Yeah, the regression output, and estimate the cost. So I will have these two, because these two are the ones that we are using. Yeah, these two. I'll just copy them here. Copy them. I'll copy this and this one, and I'll autofill this. Yeah, that way. So those are our values. The values, the quantities, and the production. Remember that is our X and Y. So the year is not a must. We are not interested with the year or the months. So here again, we go to generate the regression output. We shall go to data analytics, but now here we use the regression. The regression. Okay. So for the regression, we needed the Y. Remember Y we said is in shillings. Remember the production cost was in shillings. So this one is in shillings, the production cost. So this one becomes our Y. And our X is the quantities. Quantities is always our X. Quantities is always our X. We put the labels, and we need to have the confidence of 95%. And our output range, we shall put it just below this. And we shall put OK. That way. So that is where we are getting our regression. Yeah. So the columns are just big. They have been expanded somehow. That's why you are getting our work being expanded that way. Just change this, but it's not a must, as long as you do it even with the Cabri and font 12, so that it is visible. So that is our regression output, the regression, the summary of the regression statistics, and the ANOVA there, and we have the other variables here. We just needed that generate regression output and estimate the cost of producing 900,000. So here, cost of producing 900,000. Units. 900,000 units. So here we shall have the units, and our unit is 900,000. And so the predicted cost, estimated cost. Then we shall have the lower and upper, lower 95 and upper 95. Lower 95 and upper 95%, lower 95 and upper 95. Remember the equation is normally y is equals to a plus bx. y is equals to a plus bx, a plus bx. A is a fixed and b is the variable. X is our unit, of which we have our x in this case here. X is on this particular place there. That way. So that our estimated cost in this case, we shall take our a, the interceptor, and we open the bracket, our b multiplied by the number of units that we are having, multiplied by the number of units. So this will be our estimated cost. Estimated cost will be 101. So the lower 95 will be, we take this plus, open the bracket, the variable, multiplied by the number of units. That way. So the lower will be 76, and the upper, we take this, the fixed, plus, open the bracket, our variable, and you multiply by the number of units, and you enter. That way. Just need to expand. So the upper, we shall have 126, the lower will be 76, but the actual estimate is 101. So that is how you are to get the 12 marks for the second part, where you are to generate regression output and estimate the cost of producing 900,000 units at 95%. So we have done that. So these are regression units, or the regression output that we have generated, and we have already estimated, we have already estimated that particular cost of producing 900,000, cost of producing 900,000 units. Then for part C of our question, part C of our question is where we are told that if the selling price is 250 per unit, determine by graphical method the break-even point. You determine the break-even point. So here we shall have, remember the break-even point, we normally say at BEP, profit is 0. Profit is equals to 0. At break-even point, that is a place where the profit will be 0, or a place where total revenue is equals to total cost. A place where total revenue is equals to total cost. Total revenue is equals to total cost, that way. So already we know what we know in our case. We know the units. We know the quantity produced here. Just out of fill. That way. That is our quantity that was produced. That way. Then here we shall have the total sales, total revenue, total revenue, total revenue. And remember, total revenue is normally priced by quantity, and our selling price is 250. Our price is 250. Selling price. So selling price is 250 shillings. 250 shillings. So we shall multiply the quantity by the selling price per unit, which we shall lock the selling price is a constant by F4 to lock that, and you autofill. So that way. So that will be our total revenue that already we have, our total revenue, and already we have the total costs, or the production cost here. Remember, production cost is both fixed and variable, so it is the total. It is mixed. It's a mixture of both fixed and variable. Fixed and variable cost, that way. So you just need to get the profit. Just need to get the profit. Just need to get the profit under this level. Our profit under this level, and our profit, we shall take the total revenue minus the total cost. Total revenue minus the total cost. That way. That way. And we'll find that in this case, out of the quantities that we are producing, there is no point that we shall break even, because all of them are higher Yeah, with all these quantities, the quantities are more than, you can see the quantities or the total revenue. In all the cases, the total revenue is more than, total revenue is more than the total cost, is more than the total cost, and therefore you shall not be able to break even at that particular place. You shall not be able to break even at that particular place, and therefore this information will not be relevant. Yeah, so the information will not be relevant, but we shall be able to estimate, because already we have what, we have our estimator that we have generated for estimating the total cost. Yeah, we have an estimator for estimating the total cost, so we shall use other values now. Yeah, other values that will at least give us that point where either we are making a loss or we are making a profit. Because ideally you'll find that the break-even will be that point where total revenue or the profit, already we know this is fixed. If you can just decide to use this other method, the fixed was this, and we divide by, our selling price is 250 and our variable cost is 95. Variable cost is 95 per unit, what we know. So we shall get something to deal with 10,000, not 10, 102, 760 something to be our fixed 102. Therefore this one will be more than, so the units that we have been given are more than, so we shall have now to undo that. Yeah, I will not use this, but I will estimate in this case, because what we need is just to use the graph, yeah, graphical, to determine the break-even point. Therefore I'll estimate my units. What if we have 20,000? Yeah, I will use the range of 20, then 40, because I have used this method to estimate 20, 40, and I will go up to maybe 200,000. Yeah, maybe 200,000, that way. So total revenue here will be this, we multiply by this, yeah, this by this, and I will lock this, and I will enter, and I'll autofill. Production cost, we shall use the estimator. We shall use this, the estimate, the normal coefficient, this one, plus, open the bracket, the variable, and remember these ones we are supposed to lock, multiplied by the units. So I lock the first one, this one, and I will enter that way, and I will autofill that way, and at that point we shall minus to get the profit and see what will be our case. Yeah, so you'll find that at that particular point you are having the negatives and the positives, whereby our break-even will fall in between. Yeah, remember, break-even will be the point where the total revenue and the total cost, they are almost the same. So we shall have to plot this graph. So I will insert the recommended chart here, and there must be something, because it's supposed to give us the value, the production cost. So this production cost, and this one is quantities produced, that way, So we look at the recommended, not picking, so I need the line. Yeah, line is okay. And remember now in this case, we shall deal with what? The quantities. So quantities vis-a-vis these others. Let me show you how it will look like. Remember in this case you have to edit. You have to edit this. Switch column. Now we select the data for this side. So the quantities we shall eliminate. And we edit this side. We need to have the quantities. That one. And we put OK. And we put OK. That way. So this side we shall have our quantities on this end, and in the column we have these other values. So our break-even point now, remember you have said is the profit is 0, where this profit is 0. The point, so this is the BEP chart. BEP chart, or the break-even point chart. So you'll find that where the profit is 0 is at this point. Yeah, this point either is 10 something, the exact place. So even here, so this point where the total revenue equals to production cost. So remember at this point where they are supposed to intersect. So it's somewhere at this point, whereby now in our case, if you are to go specifically, you'll find that it should be 10 something. 10 something. If I was to add a row here, here, and I put this value 102,763 here, and this one, and this one. Yeah, so you'll find that at that particular point it will give you a 0. At that particular point it will give you a 0, and you'll find that it is not now a straight line. So they become curves. 102,763 at all that point. Yeah, 102,763. So that is now the exact point where the break-even point will fall. Yeah, where the break-even point will fall. Our BEP in units, yeah, the break-even point. So you can talk about the BEP in units. Our BEP in units, but approximately 100,000. So 102. So 102,763 units. But if you remember, it cannot give you exactly. I've just used the other method, but you'll find that at this point, that is where you're getting the exact. But at 100,000, it was almost approximately 100,000. Yeah, approximately 100,000. But using the formula, you can show it. It will be that particular point. All this from this point to this point. You will find that that is the point, and the value is 25,690,703. The value 25,690. That is where we shall break even. So BEP in shillings, or in value. In shillings, the value, it will be now the 26. This one, the revenue will be 26. Yeah, this one is in shillings, these are in units. And that is how that particular question was supposed to be done. You can see it's a question you can do within less than 30 minutes. Yeah, it was just a friendly question whereby you have to attempt and do it within less than 30 minutes for the 20 marks, less than 30 minutes for the 20 marks. So how the question was supposed to be done. So subscribe to this channel if you are new, and keep on looking for the other questions because they will be posted here. Yeah, the entire April 2025 BDA revision will be posted in this particular channel. So thank you for your continuous support. And if you are yet to subscribe, because majority of you are yet to subscribe, kindly consider subscribing. Thank you.